Today I'm going to be making this simplicity pattern. It is pattern 1903. I'm using BB, which has sizes 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And this is a jumper for a little girl. I'm going to be making pattern C, which this one right here, the little shorts pattern. Pieces that you need for this are piece number 8. Well, in order, 6, 7, and 8 of the pattern C. I believe there's more than one 7 because the size changes. This called for ribbon. Let me zoom out. This called for ribbon for the straps, but I don't like to use ribbon, and I really don't have any, and I don't have the money to go out and buy ribbon to put in here. So I'm going to show you what I did. And first I will show you the pattern pieces I cut out, and then I'll do like a little quick speed up of me cutting them out, so that I want it to be very clear and that you understand it. Also, this pattern is great for making little bloomer pants. You wouldn't need to make the pattern. The bottom part of jumper C on this is perfect for the bloomer breeches that you saw my video of. For piece number 7, you need to cut 4 pieces. For piece number 6, which is the top of the bodice, you also need to cut 4. And you may have, you'll see in the video that I cut it on the fold, but I just went on and split it. I wasn't paying any attention when I cut the first one, but it worked. For the ruffle, which is number 8, I cut 2 pieces on the fold, exactly to the size of this. And what I did was took this piece, added approximately 3 inches to it, and I'm going to use it as the straps. And I only cut 2 because I'm going to do a sew and a fold over sew and then a turn. That way I didn't have to create 4 pieces, and then it'll be just narrow enough, I think, once I sew it. So now we will get started constructing this. Okay. Now that we've got all our pieces cut out, what I need to do is take the bodice pieces with right sides facing together, and I'm going to sew down the middle seam of each one. And I'm going to do that, and then I'll come back and show you the next step. I've got each piece sewn together. Now what we need to do is just go in and press this seam down. Just gets it out of the way and it'll be more comfortable. Alright, now that we've got the seams pressed down, now what we need to do is press down the armholes, and then we want to go in and sew those. Just sew a top stitch on them, make them look nice and neat. I have such trouble with this, y'all. Honestly, this curved edge just gives me hell. I'm also going to go ahead and iron down about 1/4 of an inch on the top of each one. That's just to get it ready for the casing. That's not obviously not going to be the casing for the ties. Alrighty. Now I'm going to go over to the machine and I'm going to top stitch this. I'm not going to stitch right here because I'm going to go in and fold down to make the casing, but I'm going to go ahead and top stitch right here on each one, and then I will be back to show you our next step. I've got the armholes sewn, and I'm just going to press them down one more time just to get them looking all neat and pretty. Now what I want to do is go ahead and make the casing for the ties, and I'm going to press this down just to make sure I've got them about the same size. I'm just going to lay them on top of each other and just see how they line up. And they do line up pretty good. So now I'm going to go over to the machine and I'm going to just sew along the bottom of this casing. And that's all I need to do for that. So that is our casing for our ties. Now we can set this aside and work on the ruffle. So just make sure that if you use matching fabric for the ruffle and the ties that you get the right ones. And it's going to be the shorter ones because I cut these for the ties. So first thing we need to do is iron that little crease out there, and we're going to make a little hem on the bottom. I'm kind of doing this the way the pattern instructions called for, and it said, you know, to press a small, about 1/4 of an inch hem and then fold over that to make the hem. So I've pressed it. Now what I'm going to do is fold it over like this and take it to the machine and sew along this hem. So I'm going to do that with both pieces, and then I'm going to put my ruffler foot on, and I'm gathering foot, yeah. I'm going to gather it, and then I'll come back and show you how to attach it to the bodice. These are my little ruffled, gathered pieces for the bottom part of the bodice. Now, if you don't have a gathering foot, you can either stitch this by hand, and I can make a video, but there are so many on YouTube and online already that you could probably find one pretty easily. You just stitch by hand and make the tail and you pull it. Or you can take your machine and loosen up the tension and use a longer stitch length, and you can just pull, what you do is pull the bobbin part of the thread. And mine, I don't know, let's just see if this fits. I may have to adjust it. But I always, when I use my gathering foot, I make sure, most of the time, I remember to do it, to leave a long tail of thread on both ends so that I can pull it. But it does, kind of can make, well, shit. It kind of can make a little bit of a mess when you start it out like that. I've got a little mess there, but I'll pull that out later. What I'm going to do is attach it. The pattern instructions call for a little bit of a different way to attach it, but that is just complicated for a beginner, so I'm going to do it my way. I mean, I kind of think it's complicated for a beginner. I think if I was a beginning sewer and I saw that, I'd be like, what in the hell are they talking about? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this up until I get it to fit all the way across this bodice, and then I'm going to attach it. Okay, this is what I have. I've got the ruffle pinned to the pieces, and you can see I pinned it right sides together, upside down. So now I just need to go over with the machine and sew along this and connect it. I've got the ruffle sewn on, so now we can put these pieces aside and we can work on the bottom part of the jumper. Okay, what we need to do with the bottom part of the jumper is line them right sides together. You want to sew this part just from here to here on both pieces. That would be like the middle of the crotch seam. Okay, I've got both of these sewn together at the middle seam of the crotch. Now what I want to do is right here at the most circular part, I'm just going to cut a few notches just to the the seam, but not through it. Now, I'm going to attempt to press this because the pattern instructions call for it, but with that circular right there, I may have a little trouble with that part. I'm going to go ahead and press this top part where it's straight. Yeah, it can be done. Alrighty, now we've got that done. Now we need to make a casing and a hem for the bottom leg part. Since it has a little ruffle around the hem, you could make a casing here and it would just kind of like be a little poofy around the legs, but I like the way the pattern has it. I'm just going to iron like a 1/4 of an inch down, and then we'll fold that over itself and make the hem. And I'm going to do that with all 4 leg pieces. That would be the 2 bottom pieces of the jumper. To be clear, what I'm going to do is I've ironed this down. Now I'm just going to fold it over itself and make the hem. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is, now I've gotten the hem sewn, and you can go in and just press it and make it look really neat. I think instead of making a casing, because this is so small, I'm just going to sew the elastic onto it. I'm going to make this is actually going to be for my granddaughter. But what I'm going to do is just put the elastic onto it and use a zigzag stitch and pull it. You want to measure it first. Don't ask me measurements. You have to measure the child you're making it for. It is absolutely, not every child has the same width leg. This is there's an elastic guide with the pattern that you can use, and but I highly recommend, if you're making it for somebody specific, measuring them for the elastic and all that. So I think I pretty much know my granddaughter's measurements, and just remember you're making half on each side because you've got 2 pieces for the bottom. So whatever half of that child's leg size is what you're gonna put on each side. So I got the elastic in the legs. Now I kind of jumped ahead here. What I should have done first really is attach the bodice and the bottom piece, but no problem. It's not going to affect it to do it now. So now what I need to do is making sure that I keep this ruffle up here. I'm going to attach the top to the bottom to the top. You want to make sure that that ruffle is laying down nice and flat. You don't want it to get caught and bunched up in there. The pattern does it a different way. I'm not really crazy about that way because it's to me it's a lot more steps for a beginner, and it's a little more difficult to understand. So I'm going to do it. I am doing it this way. But mine is lining up really nicely. It's not not causing any kind of issues, so we're still good. What I'm going to do is pin these together, doing both sides, and then I'm going to sew down this middle part here. So I will do that and then I'll be back. So this is what the piece will look like once you've sewn the top and the bottom together, and I'll do that with both back and front. I haven't done it yet because I wanted to show you what we kind of end up with here as far as the little ruffle piece. I think the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to press this down, kind of split the top and the bottom where the ruffle is. kid crying out there. They always fussing. Anyway, do it like that, and then turn this over and just go over it this way too so that it stays down. I'm going to go ahead and sew the back, front, whatever it is, piece together, and then I'll show you the next step. We have both pieces of the jumper, and we're almost done. We've almost got it together. Now we just need to turn them right sides facing together. Line everything up. Now patterns have the little darts and things to line everything up, but that I find that when I use those, I focus way too much on them, and it's frustrating because I usually end up being off more if I use those little darts. But if it works better for you, by all means, please do use them. Okay. So I'm going to line up the sides and pin everything together, and then I'm just going to sew down both sides of the jumper. Okay, we have both sides of the jumper sewn together. Now the last step to getting the jumper constructed is sewing the crotch together, the bottom part. And we just need to line this up, take it over to the machine and sew across there, and as far as constructing the jumper, we will be done with that. So I've sewn together the bottom of the crotch, and we're all done with constructing this little jumper. This is super cute, but it looks like it's a size 4. My granddaughter's really tall, but she's slender, so hopefully it'll fit. But you see what we have here once we've put everything together. And it's really cute. This is a cute little outfit and super easy for beginners. Now you can take some ribbon and cut it and use it in the neckline, but I don't have any ribbon, not any thick ribbon anyway, and I kind of wanted to use the pink cupcake fabric to kind of match with it. So what I'm going to do, if you want to do it this way, the way I'm doing it, I'll show you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to, first of all, do that backwards, damn it. I'm going to sew a little, press, sorry, let's get a little bit closer. I'm going to press a little fold over on each end on both of these, because it just makes it easier once I've turned it, instead of trying to tuck it in there and close up the ends. I'm going to do this for both of these. I'm not going to rehash things that I have done before, folks, so I'm just going to tell you what I'm going to do, and I'll come in and show you the end result of the jumper. Now what I'm going to do is fold these over this way, and I'm not going to sew at the ends. See, that's the reason for pressing them like that. And then I'm going to turn them, and I'm going to sew a stitch across to close up each end. Alrighty, y'all, there's our finished jumper, and it is really cute. Really, really cute. I love this pattern. It is a good pattern for beginners, and it makes a really cute outfit that you can gift, or you can, make for your little one. So that is it. I hope y'all enjoyed. And I just didn't create my own jumper pattern because it was so similar to this, what I had going on in my head, so there wasn't really a need to do that. You could probably go on eBay and find that pattern for about $4 or $5, and it can be used for so many different things. You could even alter it maybe and make a dress out of it. It has long pants jumper and this little short jumper, so yeah, it's a really flexible pattern and really easy. Not a whole lot of pieces to cut out, so it's really great for a beginner. And it's cute. It looks like you worked really hard on it instead of it being a real easy project. You know, you can fool people and, oh, look what you did. Yeah, you did. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm back at it, folks. Been feeling good today, and yesterday was a pretty good day. So I'll be making some more projects this week too. Peace, y'all. Bye-bye.